You are in Blacktop, yeah.
Perfect. All right. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Do we, of the Lakeshore Hospital Authority, May 11th meeting. Do we have any staff or trustee additions or deletions to the agenda?
Staff has no addition or deletion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I'll move on to the adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll move on to our public comments. Any public comments here today? Sure. All right. Wow, that was awesome. Okay. Moving on to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Motion passes. We'll move on to our first bit of new business, discussion and possible action for the disposition of 12 lots declared surplus west of the Lakeshore Hospital Administrative Building. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the trustees will recall at your last meeting, you requested that Florida Gateway College and Columbia County meet to see if they could agree amongst themselves as to a distribution of these 12 lots. We have representatives here tonight from both entities. I do believe I know they met, and I do believe they have a recommendation that both agree to. Y'all have a spokesperson?
You wanna go up together?
Yeah.
Can we go up together?
I insist.
Oh,
Not speak after the meeting.
so David, we met, immediately following that Friday after the meeting, with Mr. Foreman and Miss Logan from my legal team. And we talked about it, you wanna just go?
Yeah, the county's position is still the same. We want to keep our campus downtown as much as possible. But we don't need a specific site per se. So we've agreed with the college that have you give the property to the college, and any parcel that they would not need, they would then give to the county. And we can work together on an ultimate plan for the whole area.
Okay.
And I do have some charts for the area, it's updated. That talks about the plan, David, you. So, back to front,
They have the best graphics.
Really
this is
do.
an AI. This one. Was last time.
Thank you, sir.
So we just wanted to give you a brief overview of the campus. Oh, sorry, was anybody else on? Anyone? Maybe that. So, and so part of the issue is this is really investing in downtown Lake City, that if everything comes to fruition with Meridian, the county, with the court system, without the additional lots, with Palms Medical Group and the college, within 4 years, there'll be over 500 people in downtown Lake City, Monday through Friday through the campus. Now, the college's perspective is the whole thing with the county is that we're looking at, with this presentation that I just handed out, that would be phase 2 for the college. And phase 2 would be the lots by Washington Street, Hernando Street, Calhoun and Leon. That would be the medical workforce building. And in that building would have those programs of study that I mentioned: dental hygienist, dental assistant, occupational therapy, surge tech, elder care, and also the mental health technician program, which would supply people for Meridian. So that would be the first phase, which would really be phase 2, because first phase for the college would be the Randolph building, which will be opening shortly. And then phase 2 would be that building. Phase 3 is when the county comes involved and the college becomes involved. And that is lots 9, 10, and 11. And that's the frontage of Marion Street, that big lot you see with the gates. And that would be a much more, well, potentially, I'm not speaking for the county, but TDC, economic development, and more of a, what we talked about, storefronts and potentially multi-housing on top for people to live and so forth. But that isn't really right now the content. There's some opportunity to get some grant money for this medical facility and so forth. So the real thing is, I don't think if this vision comes about and everybody aligns together and so far, the 4 entities, have been working well together. The downtown could have over 500 people a day on Monday through Friday.
We just feel it makes a lot of sense for the county to co-locate with the college.
Okay.
That's really, I won't go into too much detail if you want, but you have any questions? And the hope would be my hope would be that August 1st, we would close on the property. We would have to do a phase. I just got off the phone with Ms. Logan. I know you have a phase one done in 2006. But we need an updated one for title insurance and so forth. So we'd have to do a phase one and also have that property surveyed that the college would have surveyed. So the goal would be to close on the property August 1st, which would give us about 10 weeks to do it. It's a tough turnaround, but I also have a surveyor lined up. And for about 3 weeks from now, if it ever happens.
So is the intent just for us to send all the property to the college and then you give how does that, I'm just making sure I understand this. So
Well, we haven't-
everything,
that is, yep.
all the surplus
And then we
property,
would sub whatever.
Right, whatever properties the college doesn't need or that we're co-locating, then they would give to the county.
okay,
So at no time there would be a parcel that would be sold or gotten rid of.
okay,
4 years is pushing it. That would probably get us to, that's my goal would be, fall of 29, we'd open up the campus, that building up in that, and then we'd probably be continuing with phase 4, as we're doing that. But I think that's why it's important by fall that we try to close on this property for some potential funding that we have in place, potentially have in place.
With the health department, we own the buildings that the health department's in, so they're another entity that at some point it may need to grow and we need that space more.
And it's right next door to us.
I mean, I know it's a state agency, but we still provide the facility.
And that would really help the Department of Health with the dental and so forth. That's.
off to the board.
I make a motion that we go ahead and donate all lots to them.
Okay,
I'd just like to make a little discussion before I'm willing to second that. motion.
yes, sir.
I think, and Mr. Kennan, I'm sure this is the question that you could answer, that as far as, you getting with Miss Logan, the attorney for the college, you could work out some sort of agreement, where there's a reverter with a duration similar to what we did with the Meridian contract, 30 years.
Yep.
Would that be an issue?
No, no, because our intent is not, but.
Yeah. And I just before I second Ms. Chauncey's motion, and I think the concept is great. We asked the county and the college to get together. They did. College, I think, is not trying to pat them on the back or anything, but they've gone way overboard to get everything accomplished there at the Randolph building, 2-story building, PT building, whatever other name it has. But I drove by there the other day and it looks really nice. And before the meeting tonight, I drove by the lots on Marion Street and can, believe it or not, I can envision their concept there in that area too. And I think it would go along the lines of the prior boards before I got on this board to make it a medical complex down there, because they've already got a great working relationship with the county, Palms, Meridian,
The health department.
health department. Am I leaving somebody else, some other entity out? Yeah, with the courts, yeah, which is the county, right. But other than that, I like the concept. They did what we asked them to do, and I think that we should go along with their recommendation. And unless there's any other comments, I'd be willing to second this. John, I'm sorry.
I think the motion, to be safe, would need to include the reverter clause to be negotiated between
Okay,
The two
the two
attorneys.
may I restate my motion?
You can withdraw it and then restate.
May I withdraw my motion?
I'll allow.
I would like to make a motion that we donate the 12 properties to the college with 30-year reverter clause.
I will second that.
Okay,
If that is sufficient.
so we have a motion and a second, on the table, with a 30-year reverter clause? So with it, okay, 30-year reverter clause. Are there any other,
That, Mr. Chairman, that's similar to what we have with Meridian and their
Yeah.
contract, am I correct?
I believe so. There any other, any further comments? Or put it to a vote? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yours, Brandon?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. Okay. Unless there's any further discussion, I'm gonna move on to the next item. Discussion and possible action, the 11.2 acres east of the Meridian piece, that, I think everybody knows what we're talking about, the swamp back there. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the 11.2 acre parcel. This is the easternmost parcel of any of the parcels that were owned by the authority. It borders on Lake Drive. This is the lot that you previously had appraised. It appraised for $20,000. We did offer this for, through an invitation to bid for sale. We did not receive any bidders. This 11.2 acres was presented to you in terms of a potential use at your last meeting. And at that time, you requested that, Todd review to see if it was possible to do a public-private partnership with that individual concerning this lot, and I'll let Todd speak to his finding.
Yeah, what holds us up in proceeding, with Dylan is, the Florida Constitution. And essentially it prohibits any state, county, school board, municipality, special district, agency, or any of them to give, is the operative word in the section, the taxing power or credit to any corporation, association, partnership, or person. So it would be fine for us to dispose of it as surplus property, for the fair market value, or the alternative would be to give it to some other governmental entity. It's just the private aspect of it that holds us up under that constitutional provision.
Okay. Before we have discussion with the board, and Mr. Adams, I want to get to you. I've got a online comment request. So I'm gonna move this to public comment so that we can do everybody's comments all at once. I know you're gonna go, Dylan, but Ms. Stevens has asked if she wanted to comment on it, so I was gonna unmute her. Well, never mind, she's not on here. Okay, are there any other public comments before?
He's there.
She is there? Where?
Roll down in your list.
Son of a gun. There she is. All right, I'm gonna ask to unmute her because she put in a request.
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Miss Lindley.
If I understand correctly, this property is not buildable. Why don't we just give it to the college and the county for a big retention pond when they have to have someplace to dump water or mitigate it, whatever the process is?
Thank you, Miss Lindley. Mr. Adams.
Thank you, sir. So just for the record, at the last meeting, we were supposed to have staff reach out and have a conversation with me about this property. That never happened. That's okay. Not a problem. I would suggest you give it to the college. I'd like to work with Larry and his team to try to do something or get some grants lined up for the walking trail. I do sit on the board of the 501(c), which was also mentioned last meeting. I had that phone call and we'll have a conversation around that. Or we put it in trust, for the group and leave it in that trust. That's something that you guys leave as a legacy thing that you were able to actually do and dispose of all the properties to do the right things and do the right thing by the board and the wishes of the community. So I didn't get an opportunity to have that conversation. That's it. So I would suggest that you give it to college, if Larry would be open to it, we have a meeting. See what we can do with that property, because it's gonna be scratched for you. You know, really something that means a lot to me, and we were gonna do the overlay plan gratis for you guys. We didn't get an opportunity to do that either. Seems like a lot of things are going on behind the scenes here. So if we could do something above the board, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? All right. Thoughts from the board, comments from the board? So to be clear, Todd, we have to give this to do we have, explain that to me again, just so I understand?
We could either start the process over to see if we get another bid process, or I like Dylan's idea is that we give it to a governmental type entity that they could do their partnership. Takes us out of a lot of the public purpose. You know, our enabling legislation limits us. You know, more on the private side, the providing the health care and stuff like that. But if they could come up with a master plan that would, you know, the governmental entity would own it, and then they could collaborate to do something with it, then, you know, it'd be, they have a different public purpose than we do. Ours is limited by our enabling legislation.
Okay. Fair enough. So I have a question. Would you guys be interested in taking this one?
We doesn't, I mean, I didn't, yeah, sure, I mean, but I didn't talk to my trustees about that acreage, but I would assume.
Well, you got a guy with a plan right
Yes,
there.
either one. We would be fine, I think, I would be fine.
Okay. If you're not interested in the bridge across it, you could do retention.
We'd be willing to work with a private person like.
Yeah. Thoughts of the board? Anyone?
I'd like to ask a question. You mentioned a walking trail over there.
Please.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned a walking trail.
How would you go about getting that done?
Sure. So financially, it comes through grant money. State or FWC, Dale's familiar with quite a few of those processes in the business he works in outside of here. So that would be grant funded. Okay, we would have, the plan was to have a reverter clause to have go to Meridian. If we're unable to get it done within, let's say, 48 or 60 months. I was prepared to do that when I found out earlier today what could happen, and just kind of let it go. Really straightforward, a walking path similar to what you see in like Kyle Springs, or some of these areas where they do have, you know, hydrological areas that are, you know, beyond any kind of development or anything you can put on it vertically. That area does have retention drain there, so looking at the master retention for the area, and going through all of that and make sure that it's appropriate for that. But it's definitely higher and better use than what it is currently, which is a hideout place for people when you walk around the lake. It's chained off. There's another entity out of the state, I believe, if I recall correctly, that owns the exact corner there that's got metal chain going around it. It's like a half or a quarter of an acre or something like that, if I recall correctly. The 11 acres is in between that and the helicopter pad. So partner with the college or any entity, I just want to see it become something, rather than just giving it to someone and hoping it works, right? And using ChatGPT rather than an overall plan. So I would ask that you do that and get it to college, and then we would work with Dr. Barrett and Megan, both we're very familiar with, and hopefully that pans out.
My only question with that is, what would visibility of the area be?
In regards to what would it look like?
You know, being able to see, you know, what's there. Like, so you're walking around the lake. Would you be able to see if there are other people on the walking trail and stuff?
Yes, ma'am. They would be very similar to what you see on that picture on the wall there, with less foliage and less trees. Very common practice. Kind of like you go hitch hunting before you get in at midpoint. Very similar.
So I understand they got I mean, I used to live in Gainesville a little bit, and there's a handful of those walking trails that cut through the streets where they can't develop anymore. So they put half boardwalk, And then when you get to a spot with the dirt path, et cetera, et cetera.
It's a nice way to put it in conservation, because it can't come to anything else either.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of folks are pro-development, a lot of people are not. Conservation easements are also something we deal with from time to time. The way to ensure that it remains green space and it's undeveloped. I mean, I'm sure the folks that have spent, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars restoring these historic homes. And I know the college's foundation office is adjacent to this property. They're probably tired of seeing the guys in the tents, so they can have something a little nicer.
That basically is my question. We're gonna still have them.
That would be up to the local police, so. I can't answer Jerry Butler.
thoughts, feelings?
I get, thought it's probably a question, from Mr. Kenneth and Mr. Williams, I guess if they were given, if the property was given to the two entities, College County, would they down the road be able to work with maybe Freshwater Game Commission and
They have a lot more flexibility than we do
And-
because of our enabling legislation, so that's the perfect.
right, and the Swanee River Water Management?
Well, I'm assuming whatever they put in there, they're gonna have to have a permit.
Right,
We've already teed it up. We've
Right.
already done that.
so that would be great, and I know,
Especially that many students
Yeah.
and employees that probably just want to get out and stretch at lunch or whatever.
Right.
It'd be perfect.
The Ruck Club would appreciate it too. Make loops around the lake a lot more interesting.
Supermarkets might get some of their shopping carts back.
They got locking wheels.
We Nick seen that, that's hard, and they were joking. Good with it.
Yeah. Well, I can entertain a motion.
Just any motion would be that we just, since it's gonna be a global deal with the college, we would just include the same reverter clause as to all of the lots that would include this one, and Megan and I can just work it out as probably one deed with all of that in it.
I'll second that.
Come on. We're so close.
I'll make a motion that
Thank
we
you, Brother
include
Bill.
the 11.2 acres with the 12 lots to be given to Florida Gateway College with the same reverter clause and deal as we just discussed for the 11.2 or for the 12 lots.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to include the 11.2 acre parcel with similar reverter clause to the college. All those in favor say aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to our next piece of business, request for approval, renewal of U.S. Treasury notes. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think most trustees are aware that the surplus funds of the authority are invested in treasuries. Those treasuries are in different denominations and they have different maturity dates. So as those are about to become due and time to renew, we obviously take a look at them. And at your request, they're brought back before you. And of course, I'm gonna let Mr. Powell tell you what the current status of those treasuries are and his recommendation for renewal.
Okay, so the note that's coming due, which comes up 5/15, is the yield on it is currently 3.625. The balance is 1,160,000. They have given us rates between 6 months and 2 years, and I would recommend the 2-year one with a yield of 3.677. And I can remind you uniquely with Treasury securities, even if it's a 2-year security, and if you chose to redeem it in 12 months or 18 months or 6 months, there's not a penalty associated with the cashing it in. Obviously, you might have a difference in interest rates. But I think at this point, yield of 3.677 is a good place to leave that $1 million. Any questions?
Let's do public comments first, guys. Any public comments on these? Sure. All right, I don't have any requests online. Members, thoughts of the board? Yes, sir, Mr. Beal.
Mr. Powell, with this, I mean, I know you just said that it would be no penalty. I'm assuming here very shortly, hopefully, the next meeting, we'll start talking about what we had discussed a few months ago about putting any leftover monies into some sort of a trust fund that would hopefully continue earning money to fund this program for years beyond this board's existence, which will hopefully be expiring soon. So regardless, we could put it in this 24-month and that could either be part of the plan, or we could pull it out and put it into something else and not be penalized for that. So.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts? I can also entertain a motion.
Move that we renew the US Treasury note at 24 months, 3.677%.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Is it keeping it there? A specific, am I clear on that? Keeping it there at 3.667 on the 24-month plan. All those in favor say aye. Motion passes. On to our next item of business, discussion and approval, the quarterly, the BA 2026-3 quarterly amendment. Mr. Williams.
Yes, again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the trustees will recall, you have 3 funds which comprise your budget. One of those is the building fund, and you have requested through the budget process to review those expenditures quarterly, and as such, you allocate money necessary to pay those expenditures quarterly. So this is basically the quarterly review and the quarterly budget amendment, and I will again defer to Richard to explain the amendment.
Okay, so the budget amendment 26-3 it carried the fund through March. And so this amendment would carry the anticipated expenditures through the end of May, which hopefully will be all that's required. And so it increases the budget by $64,000 or 62.8, and so and this is funded by a transfer from the operating fund, basically reserves, and so it will carry the fund through the end of May.
Whew. Public comments. You sure? Go on. All right. Thoughts of the board? Does this look like the end of it? Is this, let me ask you this, does
It's got for a minute.
let me ask you this, are we getting close to where Meridian's gonna take the wheel?
We're about to talk about that.
Oh, all right. This gets us through May. All right. It's just money. We're almost done spending it. Thoughts on the board?
Move to approve budget amendment 2026-3.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve BA 2026-3 quarterly amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, on to unfinished business. Mr. Todd Kennon, comments regarding the conveyance of the hospital to Meridian.
Yes, the deed was signed effective April 29th, 2026. It was recorded April 29th, 2026 at 3:13 p.m. Transfer is complete.
All right. Before,
Subject to the next agenda item.
okay. Before we get into that, I don't know if I have the, goodness gracious. Miss Stevens has asked to comment on this. I'm gonna ask her to unmute.
I'm ready for Meridian to take the wheel too. I just wanted to let y'all know that.
Thank you, Miss Stevens.
Yep.
Any other public comment? All right. Any comments from the board?
Yay.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I stated earlier, I'm ready for Meridian to take the wheel. There's no action that we're required here, right, Mr. Kennon?
Correct.
Okay. Well, thank you for getting that done so quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Mr. Williams.
Yes, appreciate
And Ms.
that.
Mark.
Lauren's on there too. We can say, thank you, Lauren. Any other comments before I move on?
Yes, Brandon can get rid of the steel-toed shoes now. Go
Uh,
back to tennis shoes.
They're dented.
that was a good one, Miss Lindley. I appreciate that one. All right, we're moving on. Discussion and possible action. Lakeshore Hospital Authority Board Building disposition of assets. Mr. Williams.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, trustees. Quite a bit to talk about here. I'll be glad if I miss anything to come back and answer questions, but I wanted to make sure that you had a full understanding of what was going on. So let me begin by answering the question, Mr. Chairman, about future budget amendments.
Yes, sir.
You should not see any more budget amendments anywhere near numbers like that.
Hallelujah.
But if we approve, like for casual labor and those things, there will be some.
Okay.
Now, having said that, one thing that we obtained as part of the conveyance is we have 120 days to dispose of the inventory. That's how much time we have. We can do it quicker, but that's what we have in terms of time, 120 days from April 29th. Now, having said that, let me go back to the last meeting and remind the trustees of some of their actions. Number one, when we approved the agreement with Meridian, there was a list of inventory in the building that went to Meridian as part of the conveyance. There's a schedule, it was Schedule B, I believe, in the agreement. That inventory has long ago been identified. It exists in the building. It has been marked or earmarked for Meridian. We have just started the process of taking that equipment, those furnishings, whatever it may be, and we're moving them into rooms, sequestering that off by floor, tagging the room, property of Meridian Healthcare, no admittance. That way all of their stuff is safe, secure, out of the way. Because we're mainly dealing with everything that's left. Now, what we also did is we got with Palms Medical, who is going to be our contracted operator for our primary health care center. And we said, is there any of this equipment that is needed in order to furnish our facility? Those items that are or were identified, we're setting them off to the side where we can use them in our own primary care facility. Dr. Barrett came. We were able to help Dr. Barrett, Florida Gateway College. They identified the equipment under the educational donations that you made at the last meeting. They have already came, picked up their items. Those of our, I guess they're probably wherever they're going.
storage right now.
at the college. You also, Belmont Academy, you had a representative here at the last meeting. Belmont has identified the items that they chose or needed for their healthcare program. They have picked those up also. So those items have already been chosen, identified, and removed from the building. The CNA programs at CHS and the CNA programs from Fort White have been to the building. They've identified the inventory that they would like. However, it has not yet been removed from the building. So just today, Sonia and I discussed how to get in touch with them to see what their time frame was, because the sooner we can clear the building of those things, the easier it is for us to deal with the remaining equipment. So we're doing that. Now, the public health unit will also be invited. I do think the only thing the public health unit has expressed in the past they would want are those sub-zero freezers. You might recall when we had the COVID pandemic, we had the only sub-zero freezers available, and that's where the vaccine for the county was stored. Though most people might not have realized or known that. So they may still have an interest in those, but if they have an interest in other things, we'll certainly try to accommodate them as per your wishes. Now, let's assume that all of those are out of the way. We also discussed contacting medical equipment providers about looking at all of the medical equipment. And truthfully, to me, this is the heart of the difficulty in this. The building is full of different kind of monitors, beds, things I don't even know what they are. But we have, Sonia has identified 6 to 8, I forgot how many, medical equipment providers in the state. And we have now started the process of identifying exactly how much of what we have in terms of medical equipment. And we're going to see if we don't have an interested party who may be interested in providing a quote or a bid for that equipment. We're in hopes that we can find someone, because I have spoke to several general auctioneers. They tell me that if that goes to general auction, he said it'll sell. He said it'll sell fast, but he said it'll sell low because it's only going to be bought for scrap. It's not going to be bought for parts. It's not going to be bought for refurbishment. It's not going to be bought for reuse. So in order to maximize what we can potentially get back, we hope that the medical equipment providers have some interest in that equipment, and there is a substantial amount of it. Now, in talking to Meridian, and I think from a construction standpoint, you understand this, Mr. Chairman, pretty much in the conveyance, if it was attached to the building or part of the building, it goes with the building. But there are some exceptions to that, which Meridian has agreed to. For example, you go into one of those operating rooms, you have all of that ceiling mounted lighting and a lot of other things. Meridian has no use or need for that. It does have a value, so we do intend for those types of items, even though they're affixed in a permanent part of the building, to go. And we're doing that with Meridian's blessing. So we're working on that. And the idea is once that is complete, the rest of the items in the building are all going to be moved to the first floor. And the reason you're doing that is these auctioneers tell me there'll be a minimum of 250 people in this auction. There's one serviceable elevator in that building unless we want to pay to have the others reconfigured, which we're not. You can't have that many people going up, down one elevator. And then obviously when you sell the floor, they got to bring the item back down. So all of these things are going to come back down to the first floor. And so in order to facilitate that, in order to facilitate the earlier things that I discussed, I need help, and that help is really labor. And we're talking about hiring laborers through one of these leased companies. This is temporary. We're just gonna hire people. Dwayne, our facilities director, will oversee them. We'll move this equipment as I just described. But I do not have that budgeted, so I would need authorization from the trustees in order to do that. Don't really know how long that may take. I wouldn't anticipate it would take more than a few weeks, but I'm not really sure. In addition to that, while we have that temporary labor, we're gonna go ahead and move the archived Lakeshore Hospital records out of our old administration building. And we're gonna move them over to the space which we obtained through the clerk of courts in the record storage building. We'll go ahead and set that up where there will be a permanent location for those archived records. I was asked earlier tonight how long you have to keep those records. Some of those records don't have any date of destruction on them. They have to be kept in perpetuity. So at some point, that will be somebody else's problem, but nonetheless, we'll have the records in the right place. So what I'm actually hoping I can do tonight, trustees, is to answer any questions you have about the inventory. Oh, and by the way, two more things. One is Belmont mentioned they wanted sheets and those things. There are none. Those were all provided by Service. When CHS discontinued services there, their linen service picked up all of those things. So there's nothing like that in the building. The electronics. Okay. There is, I don't know how many computer monitors, TVs, these towers that run the computers, all of those good things. Anything with a hard drive in it. Now, before, we paid to have the hard drives removed from equipment, and we had the information scrubbed, or we threw the hard drive away, or we kept it in some cases, whatever. But the long and short of it is it's expensive, and there's no return on that type of material. So what I want to do is I want to simply take anything in that building that has a hard drive in it and contract with the same company that disposed of the last IT equipment we had, that can give us a certification that says it was done in accordance with HIPAA regulations. And what we will do is there are a few of those computers that have other information that we want to keep. And that typically deals with our building. Now, you might say it's not our building anymore. We get it. But we're going to capture that, like plans that are digitized and things of that nature. Put them in a file. They'll be in the archive records. God forbid, but 30 years from now, somebody needs that information. There it is. We're going to do that. And then we're going to destroy all that equipment. Not the monitors, not the TVs, not the keyboards, not the cabling systems, but any of that other stuff that's got a hard drive in it. Rather than us try to remove it, clean it, we're just going to destroy it. We're going to put it in the dumpster and let it go. Each piece will be identified. Each piece will ultimately be reconciled with the inventory. And at some point, we're going to owe the authority and the public an inventory to show where these items went. So we'll be able to do that. So, having said that, I would like your permission to dispose of all the hard drives and the equipment that they're in. I would also like permission to utilize temporary labor in order to help move equipment within the building and out of the building as necessary for disposition.
Okay. Public comments?
Yes.
Ms. Thumb, please.
There are companies, take all the old electronics, and you can just contact the person at the, computer repair, there at the mall, they'll take all the shit.
Oh.
They can't take it.
HIPAA.
That's the whole problem.
The hard drives
Okay,
have
get it to-
sensitive medical records.
Now, the other stuff that'll be left, we can bid it out if they wanna bid on it, they're welcome for that.
They'll just take it,
But,
not pay for it.
We can't give it away.
but,
If you're gonna dump it, what does it matter where you dump it?
no, we're only.
No,
Dumping.
only jumping the hard drives and the towers. It's not worth even going inside of them.
We're not gonna throw the whole computer away,
Yeah.
just the tower. And that's just a matter of cost benefit. It's just cheaper to do that than it is to do something else.
Yeah, I've been there. 1 second. Any other public comments? Before we get going? All right, Mr. Bill.
I didn't think about it last time. I know, and David just walked out. I know
He's coming back.
there were some trailers that had some emergency response stuff. Is there anything in the hospital that the county or the city could use for shelters?
Well, they never come. The county never did come get the, what do you call them? Those carport things that
Yeah.
those trailers were parked under. Now, they come got the 3 trailers, but they didn't come get the canopies they were under. They're still there.
But as far as inside the hospital, is there any cots or anything like that that they could use for?
Not that I've seen,
So,
not that I've seen.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
The
so
beds, one of these medical equipment companies hopefully will buy the bed, hopefully.
Mr. Bill.
2 more questions. So I know there's people, contractors that have contracts with the state. When schools get shut down, they'll come and get all of that school equipment. Is there something similar? Is that what you were mentioning that Sonia has identified? Is it something similar to that with their state
Similar.
contractors?
Similar. There are some that only come and get it for salvage, but what we're looking for in order to hopefully get more money for it is those that are willing to cannibalize it, use it for parts, and those that have the ability to refurbish some of it.
Sure.
Let me tell you now, some of these people that have came from these schools, they've took some of this stuff and walked over and plugged it in the wall and started it. I mean, that stuff, a lot of that stuff works.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, we put, paid all that money to keep that building dehumidified, that's why. So,
One more.
Go for it. Okay.
At first you had mentioned casual labor, and I thought that meant you were gonna let Sonia wear a t-shirt to work and do it.
good point.
with me?
But yeah, I guess if we need to have, if Sonia needs some help.
Thank you, Brandon.
You got 120 days to get 130,000 square feet clear.
I guess
It's
I'll
gonna,
get paid.
it'll take a couple dudes.
Uh,
There's a bunch of junk.
I thought it was
Yeah.
like
John-
casual Friday work day.
Don said, you wanted to come Thursdays and Fridays.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I am going to mention something that with Mr. Kraus being here and Mr. Williams, you both are probably going to tell me to shut up, but being that we are a government entity, as far as the manual labor, and I don't have a problem with us spending public funds on this, but to help reduce some of the costs as far as good manual labor, I'm sure that between county inmate labor and the state inmate labor, they may be willing to help out too with Dwayne's supervision, would you not think?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't think about it, but I used to use them a lot.
We did too.
I used to use them a lot.
And in fact, yeah, they're all around the county.
I'll contact the sheriff before I do anything on contracting for the labor.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
but I don't have any problems with spending the money on the labor, but I'm just saying on the good manual labor, I know that they have crews that come out of 100th, the camps there that are supervised by local Columbia County law enforcement.
Well, David And David's staff ain't gonna let us have now the crews that work on the roadsides and all. I don't care
Well,
what we do.
but there was one last week that I helped that had a flat tire on the trailer and they were state inmates, but it was supervised by the county employee. And he picked them up, I guess, or they were either transported by van to the shop, but it's a good crew and very helpful and hard working.
I think that's a good point, so I will touch base and check on inmate labor before we do anything.
And I'll be more than happy to come supervise also. I'm serious, don't mind.
After done,
No, these are very reliable, inmates.
Well, we can.
Yeah, I'm supervising.
Yeah, he would, I was about to say, for Sonia, he may need a final.
That was just a suggestion, you may not
Good
wish to
idea.
do that, but.
Well, I would say that if there is an issue with them, it's going to be because of access to the kind of inventory that might be in the hospital.
I know a lot, at Stephen Foster, we used to use them a lot up there when I was with CSO. And they've changed a lot of rules pertaining to inmate labor too, so I don't know if there's some stipulations that we'd have to follow as far as supervision and that kind of stuff. Don's been retired a long time, so.
It's definitely.
And Jared's a good supervisor.
No.
But it's definitely worth checking and I will definitely check on it.
You know as well as I do, that's true, David,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
about him being retired a long time.
Long time. Been a minute. So we need, any other thoughts on the board?
Make a motion to.
I'm just, okay.
Approve the hire of temporary labor if necessary. At Dell's discretion.
And
Destroy our,
disposition of, any sensitive hard drive computer data.
As stated by the attorney to be added to my previous sentence.
Try and put that together.
Contact the former Secretary of State, they can tell you how to destroy a hard drive.
I second Mr. Bill's motion.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion, it's perfectly fine. Motion and a second to allow Mr. Williams to hire temporary labor as he sees fit, as well as the disposition of the assets and the hard drives. Am I correct on that? Good. Sounds close enough. All those in favor say aye. Aye, that motion passes. Did we miss anything in there to cut you loose, Dale?
No, sir, I think you just covered the two things that I needed trustee approval for.
Perfect. Okay, we'll move on to the last item, discussion of possible action, the medical assistance plan amendment.
This will just be an update. At our last meeting, you authorized me to update the medical assistance plan to go ahead and include Palm Medical as a provider. We got started on it, but we did not finish it. The aforementioned inventory issue is really where the time's been, but we will try our very best to have that on the next agenda.
Okay. Any public comments on that? While I retire. Okay. When we have thoughts from the board. So before I adjourn, any final thoughts from the board? Ms. Chancey?
None.
Ms. Kennedy?
I just, again, would like to thank our staff. They've done an excellent job within the last 90 days. And it's greatly appreciated. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Beal?
Ditto.
I'm the same. All right, we'll move to adjourn. Thank you.